Jeshua, transform the deepest part. Dear friends, I am Jeshua. Feel my energy in your midst. I greet you all. It is wonderful that we are here in this space and time, in this century, because you are on the threshold of a new era. In essence, you all are the individual elements of a much larger consciousness, and especially that of your own soul. Your soul is like a sun, eternally radiant, and you are one of its rays. Feel yourself as that beam of sunlight. You are part of a larger whole, and it is possible to connect with the center of the sun that you are. Imagine that you ascend from the sunbeam that you now are by way of a connection through your crown chakra. Travel to the center of that sun that radiates light from its entire surface and bathe in that light. Experience it to the depths of your cells and take it with you when you descend back from your sun center to the sunbeam that you are now, here on Earth. Feel how the light has been absorbed by your body's fluids and all its tissues, muscles, and organs. Your body is very familiar with this energy. After all, it is from this energy of your soul's light that your body has taken form. Of course, your body is a gift from Mother Earth, but it is the living light of your soul, your divine core, that makes it possible for you to be here through the merging of soul and body. You bring a piece of eternity to this body by bringing spirit into form. The body is a messenger of the soul. In the body, you carry soul memories that go beyond your childhood in this current life. You bring layers of feeling from other incarnations, usually on a subconscious level, and those feelings include traumatic experiences. These traumatic experiences are hardened, rigid parts of the soul's energy. The light of who you are could not reach these parts in those previous incarnations, so they remain deprived of light. Therefore, they are as a ball and chain on your leg, a rock on your stomach, or whatever phrase you want to use, a hardened aspect of yourself that cannot move freely toward the new time. They ask of you that you now turn toward them and surround them with your love and wisdom. Precisely at this time, when many souls on earth feel they are encouraged to return home to who they really are, old burdens, often from other lives, want to be seen, and you are now ready to do that. This is something that you do not often realize, that you are ready to transform these deepest parts that can cause a dark night of the soul. By transforming them, I mean nothing more than allowing the light of your consciousness to flow to them. I do not mean to work on yourself, in the sense of diving back into the past and trying to analyze everything, but simply acknowledging what is there right now and allowing the light of your consciousness to radiate to these darkened parts. Let us now do that in a very practical way. I want to first persuade you that you are quite capable of looking at the darkest, deepest parts of yourself and transforming and releasing them. You are much greater than these traumatized parts, but you need to first become aware of your light, which you can do by making connection with the radiant sun that you are. Not only are you an infinite being in the center of this sun, which is an eternal manifestation of the divine, the rays that you emit are also infinite. Ever more unique possibilities arise to channel your energy to new places in order to gather wisdom and inner abundance. Be aware of your radiant self when we now go to a part of you that is deprived of light. I speak in the present tense about being deprived of light because it is happening in the now. Whatever has not been redeemed in a previous life comes back to you in a later life, not as a punishment or because of a judgment, but from an inner desire that this part be transformed so that it can release its gifts. Because in every experience resides an insight, a fruit gained, a healing power. Be conscious of your soul and hold on to that light as you bow to that something or someone who appears out of the dark, who may feel very lost, lonely, abandoned to the cold. Something or someone who has been devoid of light for such a very long time. Maybe that part of you does not even want to come near because it feels it must protect itself. It sees the light that you radiate as threatening because it feels not capable of embodying that much light. Kneel down beside that being, or whatever it is, a child, a tramp, a demon, or even a monstrous figure. It does not matter. Kneel down while holding on to your light. Tell that being, I love you, and I am coming back to redeem you. I am here to retrieve you. It is time to return home. We have need of you. We cannot continue on without you. Stretch out your hand and make the connection. Do not forget that this part also wants to return home, even though it might resist, even though it does not trust. In its heart is an irresistible urge to return home, which is the only solution for this alienated part of you. Tell this part, I will keep waiting for you as long as necessary, and have patience. When you are there kneeling down as an angel of light, as the messenger of your soul, feel that this is so. Feel how patient you are, how completely you understand the emotions of the other. Feel how you reach out in understanding to that traumatized part of yourself, how you embrace it with love. There are no shoulds, no expectations, no hurry, no pressure. Feel how you know so much about that being opposite you, for it is a part of you. In a certain sense, this being is your creation, your child, and you want to do everything in your power for this child to again flourish, to again believe in life. Do not forget that you need not suffer along with this child. You are there with all your strength and in all your innocence. Be an angel of light. Spread out your wings while you are sitting on the ground and receive the one who sits across from you. This is the only gesture that you need to make. Trust the impulse that lives in that being. It also wants to go home, even though in earthly terms it requires time to overcome its resistance, to overcome old disappointments, sadness, disillusion, and that is understandable. So give that part the time it needs and deserves. It is only from such unconditional acceptance that this child can return home. Coercion and pressure are counterproductive. You need only to be there. Do not forget that this process, when you enter into it, is not just yours. If you look at even these past centuries of history on Earth, it is not difficult to recognize why so very much trauma has developed in people. The wars and the struggle between peoples have left deep wounds. Often, so deep, they have become part of the astral atmosphere where you go after you die on Earth. If you do not transform an emotional trauma in an earthly life, it adheres to you. It wants to go home again, and it knows that it must remain with you if it ever wants to be redeemed. The soul often chooses to be born anew on Earth in order to connect with the old trauma, but under circumstances during which it is possible for it to be healed. That is now the case with many of you on Earth. It is almost certain that you will meet up with circumstances in this life by way of people or situations through which old pain in you is activated and comes to the surface because you have chosen this from your soul, from the center point of the sun that you are. Once that activation happens, and you find yourself caught up in layers that go very deep and beyond what is happening on the surface of your life, you then can sink down into these layers, or you can transform them. You have that choice. It is only human that at first you probably will sink deep into them, will again experience those dreaded feelings you once experienced in one or more other lives. That is reliving them. However, the art of this process is to let go of the past and to look at these emotions through the light of the soul. I know you will say, but this is very difficult. I am drawn in and dragged down. And the atmosphere of the earth does not help very much in dealing with this either, because there still reigns so much negativity and fear among people. But I am telling you, you are the bearers of light, and you are bringing in the new time. Be conscious of your power. Feel the light of the sun that is your essence. It radiates infinitely. Earthly pain can create deep darkness, yet you are much greater than that. You can let the light shine even into the darkest places, because that is what you deeply want to happen. It has been your soul's intention for this life to do this for yourself, and by doing this for yourself, you also contribute to the relieving of the collective burden on earth. I would therefore ask that you now extend your light to the past, and not just to your past, but to the collective past of humanity. Make no mistake, that past is not over, it is still here. It still lives in large groups of people on earth who constantly respond to old fears, prejudices, and mistrust that do not arise from the present, but have very old roots. These are people who have to deal with unprocessed pain that has accumulated from multiple lives. Maybe you now think, but I cannot do this. I do not want this. It is too much of a burden for me. Stay in your light. Feel the light of your sun. You do not have to take the pain upon yourself. You do not have to suffer. You only need to stay in your light and to allow it to shine. In this way, you reaffirm to yourself that you are not the shadow and that you do not need to live in that shadow, that you are a messenger of a new light on earth. In this way, you make yourself great. Imagine that you stand here on earth as an enormous angel of light and gentleness. Spread wide your great wings. Dare to be great and to assume your place. Imagine that you are there with bare feet on the earthly ground, allowing your angel light to radiate. Look at the pain that still lives in people. See it before you as a swirling fog, a murky, oppressive energy. But do not step into it. You need only to observe it and to allow your light to flow toward it, and you need not flee from it, because you are already on the other side. See how the energy of light, gentleness, compassion, and patience that you radiate is received. You are a light worker on earth, and this is what it means to bring light, the sphere of the angels, among people. By your presence here, tiny lights begin to shine in that murky fog of fear, sadness, and loneliness, and hearts begin to open up. Your light makes a difference. Sometimes you can see the effect yourself, but often you cannot. However, it happens just the same. Trust that process and the fact that you are here. Do not be afraid of the dark, the shadow. Believe in your own great strength. This is my appeal to you. In this time, the choice of which I spoke is extremely important. You are ready to choose the light, to not regress into the repetition of old patterns, but to create a new pattern for yourself and others. Focus your consciousness on what is powerful, light, and gentle within you. Then you can do anything. Everything can and should flow through you. Your light is not weakened by the dark, it gets stronger. That is the true meaning of bearing light on earth. I am deeply connected with you. Thank you very much for your presence here.